Alright, so as we approach the end of the first semester, there's only really two more things we got to briefly talk about. And that's this idea of a compound inequality. Compound meaning it has multiple pieces that are being combined in a certain way. So we're breaking up into two videos. This one is on or inequalities, and then the next one will be on and inequalities. They're both compound, but two slightly different styles. Okay, so an or inequality is when we take two inequalities and we apply them to the same situation. So, for example, we've been working with inequalities where we get an answer like this, where y is less than 5. Okay, which is pretty self-explanatory, right? Any number that's less than 5 would work. Okay, an or inequality is when you put another restriction on it. So, for example, like y has to be less than 5, or y has to be greater than or equal to 8. Okay, and it's just a matter of having two restrictions instead of one. Okay, the idea of solving these, you still solve these the same way. It's almost like solving two separate problems. You keep them separate. Um, two separate problems. And then you just, at the end, when you ask to graph your solution, you'll see that you should get something that has arrows going in different directions. Okay, so let's write that down as well. Graph goes in opposite direction. Okay, let's go ahead and show that. Let's say this was our answer. Y is less than 5 or y is greater than or equal to 8. So we would draw a number line, just like we've been doing with the other ones. We know that our two answers are 5 and 8. So both those numbers need to be on our graph. So maybe we start at like 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? And we graph them separately, and we want to see what happens. So the first one, y has to be less than 5. Remember, when you're graphing, you have to determine, is it an open circle versus a closed circle? Well, this one we know is open. So at 5, because it doesn't have the bar, at 5, put an open circle. And it says less than, so that is to the left. Okay? Then we do the same thing with the other one. It has the bar this time, so we know this one is closed. And it says greater than or equal to 8. So at 8, we put a closed circle. And this one is going to the right. Okay, that's a key characteristic of an or inequality, is that our graph should go in opposite directions. It's either less than 5 or it's greater than or equal to 8. Okay, so we two different possibilities there. That's what it means to make a compound inequality. Okay, now as far as solving these questions, it's fairly easy. It's almost like you're just doing two problems. Okay, so let's try one together. Okay, so let's say 3y minus 5 is less than negative 8, or 2y minus 1 is greater than 5. I mean, obviously, these ones are pretty straightforward. It uses the word or. So we know right away, without doing any work, our graph should go in opposite directions because it uses the word or. Okay? And essentially, you solve these just individually. Solve the left one, get an answer. Solve the right one, get an answer. Graph both of them on the same line. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of that 5. It's negative, so we can add it to the other side. Again, use calculators if you need to. It's not a big deal. So bring in the leftovers. That 3y is still there. The symbol has not flipped around. We didn't divide or multiply by a negative. Negative 8 plus 5 gives you negative 3. Okay, and then now we have to get rid of that 3. It's positive, or sorry, it doesn't matter if it's positive. It's multiplication, so to get rid of it, we divide. Okay, and we get the answer of y is less than negative 1. Again, our symbol did not flip around because we did not multiply or divide by a negative number. Okay, in the last step, we divided by positive 3. So that did not count. Okay, so that's one answer. Now we got to go and do the other one. Okay, so let's go ahead, draw a line down the middle again. Let's start by getting rid of that 1. So it's negative, so again, we can add it. Okay, bring down the leftovers. Okay, 5 plus 1 gives you 6. And last step, get rid of that 2. Again, is attached, so we can divide it to the other side. 6 divided by 2 gives us 3. Okay, so we know our answer is y has to be less than negative 1, or it has to be greater than positive 3. And then we draw a number line. Now the trick with the number line is we know what our two answers are, so they both have to be on the graph. So when you're designing your graph, maybe you start off, maybe this is negative 2, and then just count negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good enough. Okay, so for the left one, it's a less than symbol. It doesn't have that bar, so it's an open circle at negative 1. And it says less than, so we are going this way. Okay, and then the other one, also greater than, so no bar, so it's an open circle again at 3. And it's greater than, so it's going to the right. Okay, again, or inequalities should always go in opposite directions. If not, then something's wrong. Okay, in the next video, when we talk about the and inequalities, those ones should go towards each other, which you'll see in that video. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put 1 on the screen for you guys to try on your own, just to make sure you got it. Okay. All right, so go ahead and try. 5x plus 8 is less than 3, or negative 8x plus 1 is less than or equal to negative 39. All right, go ahead and pause the video at this point, try them out. Again, this is good practice just because your final exam is going to have a lot of equations on it, which is the exact same step as here. So this is good practice. Make sure you try it out. Um, and again, don't be afraid to make mistakes because that's how you're going to learn. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video at this point and try them out. And when you're ready to press play, go ahead and do that to check your answer. All right, so if you're checking your answers, you should have got those two. The left one, x is less than or equal to negative 1. And then on the right, x is going to be greater than or equal to 5, which actually I just made a mistake. Looking at that left one, these symbols should not have the equal to bar. My mistake. Let's go and fix that real quick. So these should just be less than symbols. No bar. Okay. Again, on the right side, we divided by a negative 8, so that's why the symbol flipped around. And then our number line, okay, has to go from at least negative 1 down up to positive 5. So maybe we do this. Negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, at negative 1, there should not be a bar. Oh, that was a mistake on my part. So open circle at -1, and it's going to the left. And then on the right side, greater than or equal to 5, it does have the bar, so it should be closed, and it should be going this way.